Over they go. The World of Outlaws set off fireworks. And tonight is their first televised shot of the season right here on TNN. This is the dirt oval at the fabulous Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where this weekend roulette wheels are taking a backseat to smoking wheels, as NASCAR is on the Super Speedway, and the Pennzoil World of Outlaws is sold out right here tonight. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Evans, and we are live here on TNN, and we're not messing around. Already pushing off are the 8 cars for the Channel Lock Dash. Little different format for the Dash in '99. Tonight we have the 4 top finishers from last night's A feature and the fastest 4 qualifiers for tonight's A feature through the heat races. But still, the finishing order here will set the top 4 rows for the A feature tonight, the big money, the big points race. It's a gorgeous sight as they come under the flag stand here. And I think I better hurry up and get it upstairs because they're like raging bulls about to come through the glass. Ralph Shaheen and Brad, the international traveler, Doty. Take it away, boys. Welcome to the first race of the year for us.
Steve, if you're like Brad and I, and I'm sure everybody at home, you're ready to sling a little mud. It's been a long winter. Let's get right into it. Brad, you ready?
I am ready. This is going to be one good one tonight.
Here we go. Starting on the pole, that brand new Mopar. It's a new ride, but he's already got 2 wins. Mark Kinzer.
Absolutely. This is an experimental engine tonight, though.
And the 1998 Amoco Knoxville Nationals winner will start right alongside of him, Danny the Dude Lasowski, car 83.
With a win this year on Hoosier tires.
And a brand new car on the inside of row number 2 for this driver, the 1BK. It's a new ride, but he's got 1 win already in '99, Johnny Herrera.
And he might stay out here and run the whole World of Outlaw season the way they're going.
On the outside, alongside of Herrera, the 15-time World of Outlaw champion, the king of the Outlaws, Steve Kinzer.
I've heard of that guy a time or two.
To the inside of the 3rd row out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, the black number 2, Andy Hillenberg.
There's Andy looking for a sponsor for this year. Unsponsored so far. He's got Luxair as an associate, but they're looking for better things for this year.
On the outside of that row from California, he is the 1998 King of California, the Hurricane, Randy Hannigan.
Randy spent all winter down in Australia, won 7 races down at the World Series. He's ready to go racing.
Out of North Dakota, on the inside of the last row, Donnie Schatz got his first win last year.
New Parker Stores sponsor for that team.
And a name you're going to hear a lot about starting last in our dash, James Chesson out of Far Hills, New Jersey. PJ and James, get ready. You're going to hear a lot about these 2 youngsters. James in the Channel Lock Dash here tonight.
Just a couple young guys, and they hired Sammy Swindell to mentor them down in Florida a couple races. Sammy's down there giving them driver's lessons down there.
We got an onboard with the dude, Danny Lasowski, in the Beef Packers car. He is, right now, the current Pennzoil World of Outlaw points leader. Right behind him, there you see Johnny Herrera, the 1BK out of Tempe, Arizona. Well, Hollywood having a pretty good season already.
Boy, he sure is. You know, they've struggled the last couple of years, and Johnny's showing what he can do here. He's liking this team and this race car.
Johnny's supposed to be concentrating on the Knoxville Track Championship this year, but the car owner said, well, if you're running pretty good, maybe we'll stick around. So Johnny went right out and won one right away. He's trying to get him to stay for the whole tour.
That's the way to impress your sponsors and your car owner. He's doing what he needs to do. He's just hoping that they want to stay out here. You know, of course, most World of Outlaw, or most sprint car drivers want to end up running the World of Outlaws. So Johnny would like to stay out here for sure.
Big weekend of racing here in Las Vegas. Sin City has been rocking with motors charging all around town, but the hot action has been right here. The Pennzoil World of Outlaws ready to kick off the 1999 season live on TNN. And we're going to have our first Channel Lock Dash for you.
If you look there, Mark Kinzer's got that hood back on, or Carl Kinzer, that short, stubby hood.
We're green! Lasowski jumps into the lead of the Channel Lock Dash as we dive into turn 1. Mark Kinzer in the Mopar runs 2nd. Steve Kinzer is 3rd. Hillenberg is 4th, and Herrera slips back to 5th.
This happened last night. Johnny got the jump on the front. Those Hoosiers are a soft tire, and they really seem to take off on the starts. The Goodyear seemed to take a couple laps to get warmed up and get up to speed, where that Hoosier, it takes off at the beginning. Last night it seemed to fade a little bit, and Mark came on at the end.
Look at this battle. Here's Schatz with Herrera. That's Donnie Schatz in the yellow 15 upstairs, and the 1BK of Johnny Herrera, the black car.
Well, you can see shots. You got to tiptoe around the outside, because if you get a little bit too high, just that pea gravel and that loose dirt up there. Now you're in the bottom there, but down here in 3 and 4, if you get up there a little bit too high, boy, it just slides right up into the wall. So if you're trying to the outside of a guy, you got to really be careful.
Shots picked up that right front coming off the corner at turn number 2.
The track's already getting rubber down. It's already getting sticky. We're into the dash. We got the C and the B and it to go yet, so they're going to get a lot of rubber down.
Look at that racing action as Shots comes right up on the inside of Herrera. Now he'll slide to the outside, going to 3 and 4. Here's the battle for second. Kinzer's going at it. Mark in the Mopar in second, the black car, and the king, Steve Kinzer, in that green Quaker State car right behind him in third.
Now this motor in Carl's car tonight, a little smoke right there. This was a new motor, and this was basically Carl's design of the Mopar. That he wanted to try some things and basically detune the engine and take some horsepower away.
Checkered flag waves. Danny Lasowski comes out with a strong win in the Beef Packers 83. So the Pennzoil World of Outlaw points leader. Hey, we're all about big right rear tires and a heavy right foot here tonight in Las Vegas. Hope you like the Channel Lock Dash. We're just getting started. And a huge crowd on hand here tonight at the dirt track at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The Pennzoil World of Outlaws are in town and putting on a show. We just completed the Channel Lock Dash, and Bobby Gerald is downstairs with our winner.
And Ralph, to reiterate what Steve Evans said at the top of the show, the winner of the Channel Lock Dash gets the right to start on the inside front row of tonight's big race, the feature event, and that will be Danny, the Dude Lasowski. And Danny, that inside row has got to be a great spot for you tonight because it's a low groove racetrack.
We think so. It's laid rubber down here. There's not much we can do at the racetrack with 40-mile-an-hour winds, and we thought maybe if we can win the dash, and we still got a couple races to go, maybe there's more rubber be on the bottom, and that's what we did and got lucky enough to do that.
Well, when we talk World of Outlaws racing, we usually hear a lot about the Goodyear tires and some about McCreary's, but there's a new player in town, the Hoosier, and man, you look good.
Well, I'll tell you what, the folks from Hoosiers have been helping us out, and we can't thank them enough. They come out with some new compounds this year. I've been a Goodyear man most of my whole career, and these guys helped us out, and we thank them for it.
All right, in the 30-lapper tonight, can that tire go the distance?
I don't think so. I think they got a harder compound than we might go to. It's a 55 compound, and we're going to try that. And guys, I want to say hello to all my family at home and the Pulliam family, and Landon, I hope you guys are having fun.
You just did, and I'm sure they're having fun because Danny Lasowski has won the first TV race of the 1999 campaign, Ralph.
All right, Bobby, thanks a lot. They got some more pictures to take care of down there. Huge crowd on hand here tonight. And Brad, you know, Danny is off to a really good start this year, already with a win and a win in the dash. He's leading the Pennzoil World of Outlaw point standings already. What do you think? Could it be his year?
Some might feel that he's taking a gamble with the Hoosier tires. They've struggled for years. They won 2 races last year, Joe Gertie and Danny Lasowski racetrack down in Texas. Boy, he's proven this year that the tires are more versatile. All different racetracks. I talked to Neil Kalman with Hoosier the other day. They're really going after this. They want the market.
Well, it's already been a very interesting 1999 Pennzoil World of Outlaws season. Dave Reef, who is with us here this weekend, took a look at the 99 campaign.
The Pennzoil World of Outlaws Tour began the season last month at King Speedway in Hanford, California. It was a day Mark Kinzer would like to forget as a deflating tire launched his Mopar ride high into the sky. Mark was shaken, but in true Kinzer tradition, he bounced back in time to make the feature. In that race, early leader Sammy Swindell was powering away from the field until Stevie Smith bicycled and started a chain reaction crash in turn 4 that brought out the red flag. On the restart, Sammy pulled away, only to eventually find Danny Lasowski hot on his heels. The Dude makes the pass to take the win, his second career Outlaws victory at Hanford, California. The next night at Lake Paris Speedway, the dominant hand was dealt to Johnny Herrera, now driving the #1 BK car. Herrera led all 30 laps, but the wildest action was back in the pack. Stevie Smith's bad luck continued as he put on a hard charge to the front, only to be delayed by a flat tire. While Andy Hillenberg had his second incident in as many nights, spinning out in the exit on turn 2, collecting Sammy Swindell in the process. The carnage continued moments after Herrera took the checker as Terry McCarl's car was destroyed in a front straightaway altercation with Jeff Swindell. Herrera originally planned to only compete with the Outlaws until he begins racing for the Knoxville Track Championship, but with this win, his plans may change. Last weekend outside Phoenix at Manzanita Speedway, the Outlaws held their first double event of the season, and Friday night was a continued disaster for several drivers. Stevie Smith had another rough night, thumping the wall in turn 3. And Rookie of the Year hopeful Darren Pittman lost a wheel and rolled his new ride in turn 4. But it was a bright day for the 1998 Rookie of the Year, Tyler Walker, as he notched his second career victory at Manzanita and then performed his trademark series of backflips to celebrate. The following night, Tyler had a minor scrape with the wall, but then rallied back and spent the rest of the race locked in a heated battle with Sammy Swindell. But neither of them had anything for Mark Kinzer, who started from the pole and then ran away and hid, notching his first ever Outlaws victory in a Mopar-powered Sprinter. And that brings us to Vegas.
And if you had the 20-lapper from last night, the preliminary feature win that Mark Kinzer got, this is the hot shoe, the Mopar car, Mark, doing the job. How does that make you feel? Did you have some apprehension going in?
You know, not really. We've done our homework on Mopar. They got a heck of a product. Lee Carducci and Luke Patane, they're right behind us. So it's something we've done some research on, and we feel very confident in.
Let's talk a little bit about that product. We've seen a little smoke out there in the dash just now. Do you have a big problem?
No, we just got a minor blow-by-oil problem. We got an engineer, Lee Carducci's here tonight. Gary Stanton, my father, are all taking a look at it. We're going to change motors. We'll be right out there ready to race.
Right now, Mark Kinzer sits 4th in the World of Outlaw points, 21 points back. If he hadn't had that DNF, he might be further up. Just how do you gain World of Outlaw points? Here's Bobby Gerald to tell us how.
Well, points, points, points. That's all anybody wants to talk about. And in today's World of Outlaws racing, it seems like they talk more about consistent top 5 finishes than they do about winning races. And here's why. The winner tonight will get 150 points for the win. There will be a 4-point drop. That's the only time there's a 4-point drop to second place from 146. Then it drops by 2 down to 144, 142, and so on. The upshot of this is that you can finish 5th and only lose 10 points. So the system rewards consistency. How will it all shake out at the year's end? I don't know, but it'll be tough to beat last year. 1998 will always go down as a landmark year for the World of Outlaws, as 14 different drivers won A features. Leading the way with the most wins was Pennsylvanian Stevie Smith with 14 victories, followed closely by Mark Kinzer with an even dozen. Jack Haudenschild raced the number 22 to 11 wins. But race victories alone don't always add up to a championship. Consistency as well as speed determines a champion on the Pennzoil World of Outlaws Tour. Last season, as in 14 other years, the overall title belonged to Steve Kinzer, and that formula already has the King once again occupying a strong position in the early '99 standings. And here is Steve Kinzer. And Steve, so what about it? Last year you win the championship, but would you have traded that championship for a few more race wins?
No, I would rather had a championship. That's what everybody's works for all years, to win the championships. But we'd like to have a few more wins along with it.
You just came off the racetrack here in the Channel Lock Dash, and it's obviously a very tricky track to drive tonight.
Yeah, it is. You know, we've got started on again real early, and got the track real dry, slick. I don't know how much rubber it's going to take with the wind, but right now it's right around the bottom. So we'll just everybody's doing some tuning, trying to get the car set up where they'll get off, squirt off the corners good, and then if it lays the rubber down, they'll all come off the corners good. So we'll just see what happens.
And we'll look for the King to be right there in the top 5 again tonight, Ralph.
Under the lights, Las Vegas is one of the most beautiful cities you can see everywhere. I mean, New York, New York. I mean, where do you decide you want to build a casino to look like the Manhattan skyline? It's just unbelievable. The folks here in the grandstands having a great time at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We had a pretty hot time out here last night, so let's take you to the highlights of Friday night with the Pennzoil World of Outlaws. In the C-Main, well, this one was all Peter Murphy. The Australian in the 0 car dominated this one.
Well, there he is coming out of turn 4, but actually that's Billy Wilburn.
Billy Wilburn, I'm sorry.
That's, you can see the difference in the racetrack from last night tonight, a little bit dusty there.
In the B-Main, it was the 8H of Joe Gertie and the 5M of Mark Kinzer battling it out.
Again, Mark sweeps by on the outside, right up in there in the loose and dust. Nothing wrong with the Mopar there last night.
Joe couldn't catch him. Here's Mark Kinzer coming off the corner. And in the A-Main, we see it all over again. Mark Kinzer, Joe Gertie, and Mark gets him again, that Mopar.
Again, everybody running the top line last night, a little bit higher group.
That's Jimmy Carr in the 21 who was battling with Sammy Swindell. And then Mark would go on to take the win over Danny Lasowski last night to take the preliminary night victory. And a big night going on here Saturday night as well as we get everybody into our first television show. We've got some highlights for you from what happened earlier tonight as well, including the heats. We'll start things off with heat number 1 action as we begin a look back to earlier this evening. This was all about Northern California's Brent Kading in the number 2. Brent would be the strongest car in this one. He struggled last night, but not tonight. In heat number 2, watch the 16, Bill Robertson.
That's Terry McCarl there spinning, getting in the back of Andy Hillenberg, and he just lost it coming out of turn 2. Now there's Casey Kane just got in a little too deep, slid up, got up in the loose stuff, and let Joe Gertie go by on the inside. Gertie's another one of those guys on Hoosier tires. The Goodyear people said not to worry. They got some new stuff coming out in a couple weeks, and they're going to be ready.
Kane really had problems because he just started sliding wide every time through 3 and 4, and it just put him farther and farther back.
Rookie mistakes there, Ralph. Just a young guy.
Andy Hillenberg would get the last transfer there in the black 2.
Joe Gertie, one of the neatest looking sprint cars out there with the graphics on that car.
On to heat number 3. Here, this was a battle of zeros having problems. First the 00 and the 0. The 0W actually is Billy Wilburn, and the 00, Jason Statler had problems twice, and that's Peter Murphy
in the 0
was battling for a transfer spot at the time and just slid up wide to avoid him. Calvin Landis in the 70 passes the 7, the red car, Craig Delansky, for a transfer spot. Meanwhile, the 47 of Darren Pittman, the Casey's General Stores car, that's the machine that Johnny Herrera drove last year, would go on to win this one, as Calvin Landis would get a transfer spot as he battled with Delansky. And the final heat of the night, good battle between the yellow 18M of Todd Bammer and the Ingersoll Rand number 19 of Stevie Smith. Stevie and Ingersoll Rand, boy, what a great combination they made last year. Great opportunity for Ingersoll Rand to get into the Pennzoil World of Outlaws, and Stevie would make the move to take the transfer. Sammy Swindell, meanwhile, on the Channel Lock car, would take the win. Well, that brings you up to speed on everything that's taken place here so far as we took a look at last night's highlights and highlights of tonight's earlier Napa heats. Let's check in now with Dave Reed.
Ralph, we're getting ready for the C-Main, and earlier you talked about James Chesson and his brother PJ. Well, this is PJ. Usually these guys run in pairs. Wherever one brother goes, the other one does. We saw James in the Channel Lock Dash, but PJ, you're in the C-Main. What happened tonight?
I had an unfortunate time trial session. I misread the racetrack and went from there. Got maybe 45th quick and put us in the back of the heat, so it was tough to make it from there.
Good luck tonight. New kids on the block struggling around these slick racetracks right now, but Ralph, as you said, they'll be definitely one to keep your eyes on. Let's go over to Bobby Gerald.
And here's one young lion to another. This is 17-year-old Roger Crockett that you're looking at. Look at that baby face. Started racing, though, when he was 13 years old and last year won a championship as a 360 champion in California. Inside the second row in this C-Main, they only transfer 2. What's your strategy?
The strategy is to try and get into second place or better in turn 1 because it's hard to pass, but if we don't, we'll just go from there and try and pass some cars.
All right, he sounds like a seasoned veteran already. He knows he has to be there. How good is this kid, Brad and Ralph? Last year, he won 2 410 races with a 360.
That's pretty stout.
I'll tell you, am I getting older or are these guys just getting younger?
I'm hoping they're getting younger because the option is not a good one for you and I. Well, the C-Main cars have been pushed off, and let's show you the grid for tonight's C-Main, this 10-lapper. Brian Coelho and J.R. Patton. Row 2, Gary Faravanti and P.J. Chesson. Row 3, Roger Crockett in the 35W and Cal Hertzen in the 16A. Jason Statler and Steve King will make up row 4. Jason Solwold and Steve Coelho will make up row 5. 24F of David Fowler and John Ewell. The 19E in row 6. This is 10 laps and 2 cars are going on to the B.
Well, as we saw there on the grid, Coelho, the pole sitter, is scratched for some reason, so that moves the inside up, the 1F car up. Good break for him.
Yeah, Gary Faravanti.
You heard Danny Lasowski say after the dash that he feels like the inside is the way to, where you want to start. So, man, it puts him on the front row. If he can just get a jump up here, and then all he has to do is hold him off.
Gary comes out of Paso Robles, California.
As you can see in that shot, the shine on the racetrack. Again, 40-mile-an-hour winds today.
Yeah, there's really nothing you can do about that.
No, but we've seen it before at this place. I mean, this makes sometimes for better racing. It's slowed the cars down a little bit and brought everybody back to side-by-side racing.
Here we go, green flag wave. Faravanti takes advantage of that scratch and moves right into the lead.
You see Chesson there in the 76 make a move. That was up right there for 3rd spot. Oh, he took a big push as he went into the corner, but this car is a little bit too tight. You can see there to the left of our screen. It's going into turn 1. There's Chesson in the green wing car.
And you heard Roger Crock in that 35W tell you about what he needed to do. He knew he needed to get right up front early. He has done that. So the youngster out of Northern California in that blue 35W, he can hang on as a transfer spot in a good battle brewing here. Brad, when you got a slick track like this, as a driver, what can you do to compensate?
Well, you have to get your race car set up, no matter how good a race car driver you are. If you're spinning the tires, you can't do anything about it. So you have to, your knowledge has to tell you what to do with the race car, but you have to be smooth on and off the throttle and smooth with the steering wheel. But what happens, the car's getting in's a little bit loose, but right in the middle of the corner, the car might take a push. And the harder you get on the throttle, the more it pushes.
Pass up front, Faravanti slides way wide. He did break, it looks like.
Yeah,
Crockett's going to take the lead, and Chesson's going to come right with him. Yeah, he is slowing on the outside. Now the exit of the racetrack is way down near turn 1. He's not going to coast down to there, so the caution will come out.
Yep, Chesson's liking this because it didn't look like he was going to transfer in this short of a race until the one car broke, and that moves him into 2nd.
P.J. Chesson in that beautiful green and silver number 76 pulls up into 2nd place now. How much do you think Sammy Swindell was able to help the Chesson boys?
Well, I talked to them, and I talked to Sammy about it, and like I told Sammy, how do you teach experience? These guys they have good equipment and everything. They just need experience. And the only way to do that's to race.
There's Faravanti braking as he goes into turn 3. Hard to tell what went wrong.
Yep, he just, no power, just pulled out of the way there. Nice move for him to pull the top. But again, like you said, Ralph, the exit's down so far, he couldn't make it down and brought out the yellow. Gives these guys a chance to catch their breath a little bit and take a breather, just calm down a little bit, especially the young guys. And now you can move around under slow speeds and look at the racetrack and try to spot the rubber, the sticky spots on the racetrack where at speed. Sometimes you can't do that. They'll flip their visors up, pull the side of the hood back, because again, sitting in the seat, you can't see the front tires. It's hard to see the actual down on the racetrack. They have to look out the side of the car sometimes, look down on the racetrack to see where they might want to run.
See Chesson playing around a little bit.
Sometimes, the cars have bleeder valves in the wheels, and on a track like this, you get a lot of heat in the rear tires, and this valve will pop off and release some of the air. Sometimes under yellow, maybe a little bit of too much air will get out, so they'll spin the tires a little bit, shake them loose a bit to try to keep some heat in it, and just feel the car and make sure that it's going to stick when they enter the corner.
We'll have the restart for the C-Main as they come on to the front straightaway. They'll come to the orange cone at the start-finish line. You cannot pass the car in front of you until you pass the orange cone.
Remember, the people at home, that's what we saw last year. They starting on the front straightaway with the cone. It used to be on the back. Now it's on the front. It's a lot better format.
I like that. Chesson slips a little coming off a 2. The 16 of Cal Hurtson, the red car.
Right there, you can see the car kind of took a big push. It was sideways, and all of a sudden it just took a big push. Means that he had to turn left. And
Steve King in the 88K.
What happened there, the car just slid out, got the right rear up a little bit too much out of the groove, out of that rubber, and boy, you can see how the 16 just took advantage of it.
Yep, that's J.R. Patton's 86. Just a handful of laps left to go in this 10-lapper. Only 2 cars are going to move on, and it looks like right now it's going to be Crockett in that 35W and Chesson chasing him in the green and silver car.
You know, a racetrack like this, Ralph, is probably the hardest for an inexperienced driver to go fast on. When the racetrack's what we consider nicer or wet, sticky, where you can pretty much run wide open all the way around the racetrack, the groove's all over the place. So if you slip a little bit, you're okay. But on a racetrack like this, if you mess up and you slip out of the groove a little bit, you could be in real trouble.
Battle going on back here, a little deeper in the pack. It's not for a transfer spot. The double zeros, Jason Statler, 3rd and 4th is what you're looking at.
Okay, we're on the white flag.
Here's Crockett. 1 to go as he comes down the back straightaway. He'll take the checkered flag as he comes off at turn number 4. He told Bobby Jarrett what he needed to do, and he did it. Roger Crockett going on to the A or to the B main, and he'll take P.J. Chesson with him. They'll tack the back of the B.
The 2 youngsters go to the B.
Couple of teenagers moving on through the night. We're going to move to a quick commercial break, but we'll be back with the B main for the Pennzoil World of Outlaws after these words. Are the results of the C main, where Roger Crockett and P.J. Chesson claim the top 2 spots and the transfer positions to tonight's B main event. Jason Statler, Cal Hertzen, and J.R. Patton rounded out the top 5. Well, there's some big news coming out of Guy Forbrook's racing shops. Guy Forbrook, you might remember, was working with Steve Kinzer last year as one of the dual crew chiefs on that team. His announcement was made today that the folks at Workin and Stu Murray and the gang over there, along with Jackpot Junction, are going to sponsor old number 5, the car that he has run around the Knoxville Raceway for so many years. They're going to go for Guy's 8th track championship is Knoxville as a car owner. Terry McCarl will be his driver. They will run about 40 World of Outlaws shows. They're going to run Maxim chassis, Gertie engines, and Goodyear tires. It would be the first time Terry McCarl wins the Knoxville title if they can pull it off. They hope to go to a full World of Outlaws schedule in the year 2000. So good luck to the 2 of them. Let's check in now with Steve Evans with the winner of our C main.
Thanks a lot, Ralph. Roger Crockett with the C takes the C in C main and turns it into Conquest as the young Californian tries to extricate himself from the tight confines of the sprint car. Nicely done.
Thank you. We got a little behind being in the C main, but we'll see what we can do in this B. It's a long ways to go, but let's see.
You didn't need that yellow, did you?
No, but that's all right. It gave me a chance to just get out in the open a little bit.
Did you learn anything that'll help you from the back of the B?
Yeah, we learned that we got the car a little better than we had working earlier, and just go from there.
Thank you. Good luck. Bobby Gerald.
And we're down here with Peter Murphy, the driver of car number 0. Peter finished 2nd here last year in the last race of the season. And Peter here in the B main tonight. Thank you for shutting that off for us. That'll make it a little easier for all of us. What do you think of your chances from the outside front row?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. It should be pretty easy, you would think, but sometimes things just don't go to plan. So, I don't know. You never can tell, never underestimate anyone, and we can just hope that we can get through there, and we'll just see what happens.
It looks like in turns 3 and 4, you have to be pretty precise with the spots you hit.
Yeah, actually, it's very windy getting in down there, and it's actually getting a hold of the cars and pushing them in a bit further than what you would like. But it's the same thing for everyone. So you just got to hang on, and hopefully you can get through better than everyone else can.
Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Peter Murphy's ready to go in our B main.
What he's talking about, that the wind is so strong that going into turn 3, the wind wants to carry the car up across the racetrack. Going into turn 1, it wants to blow him in the infield. So a guy has to adjust for that and be careful. As you can see the flag there. It's
blowing
really
straight
windy.
out, isn't it? And with the track being slick as it is, when you get blown into the corner, that's going to add a few miles an hour to your entry speed, which just makes that push even more exaggerated.
Right, and again, if you get up on the top like we talked, get the right rear up in the loose stuff, you're in real trouble. So they have to really worry about that and think when they go into 3, remember that wind, so back out a little bit early and try not to carry too much speed into there.
We do want to update you on a couple of friends of the Pennzoil World of Outlaws. Sid Blanford is recovering from a pretty bad non-wing crash at Manzanita. The reports are that Sid's going to have a full recovery and should be back behind the wheel of a sprint car real soon. We hope to hear you racing with us again, Sid, real soon. And Dion Hindy is talked to the same doctor who helped Ernie Irvin get back together, and his eye surgery should be coming on real soon. Look forward to seeing you too, Dion. Last year, one of the most influential crew chiefs in the Outlaws was Jimmy Carr, who helped guide Danny Lisowski to a 5th place finish in the points, as well as a magnificent come-from-behind victory over Sammy Swindell at the Amoco Knoxville Nationals. But in 1999, Jimmy has traded the wrenches for the wheel and will be driving the number 21 car. This could be a potent pairing, as the 1991 World of Outlaws Rookie of the Year already has scored a 2nd place finish in Hanford, California.
And Jimmy Carr, welcome back to the cockpit of the driver's seat. How's the transition been so far? It's been a little while, a year and a half.
It feels like a lifetime. I need a wire brush to get some of the rust off my driving style. Got a lot of good tips from the guy that I used to help. Need to work on racing. A couple months down the road, maybe we'll be good to go.
That Knoxville Nationals was absolutely astounding. But honestly, this is where you wanted to be all of last year.
Yeah, it was a great thrill to win the Knoxville Nationals, but I needed a steering wheel in my hand.
He will push off in the B main. We wish you the best of luck tonight. Starting 6th, Jimmy Carr back in the cockpit of a sprint car.
Yeah, how worried was Jimmy Carr about getting back behind the wheel? As soon as he got the ride, you know what the first thing he did was? Packed his bags, went to Hawaii for a vacation. Yeah, real worried about it, Jimmy.
Well, it might be the last vacation he gets for a while.
So Silver State Shootout is why we are here. Our first live Pennzoil World of Outlaws show for you. We've got more races with the Pennzoil World of Outlaws on TNN in 1999 than we ever have. Of course, we'll be hitting the Kings Royal. We'll be going to the Amoco Knoxville Nationals. We're going to go to Topeka, Kansas for the first time. Bill Kentling and the gang are going to put dirt on their drag strip, and we're going to be there. Bobby Gerald, you're going to come with us, aren't you?
Yes, I am. And that's why I've got a big smile on my face. Lots of sprint car racing here on TNN. I know there's a lot of fans out there that are wondering, where's Joey Saldana? You didn't see his name in the heat races or some of the lineups. He had qualified for the non-qualifiers race because he drew an early number and had to come out as the 6th car out on the racetrack. Now, at that time in qualifying, there just wasn't much racetrack to get a hold of. He timed in badly, didn't do well in the heat, had to go into the non-qualifiers race. At that point, they made a team decision just to save the equipment, load it up, lock and load, and not push it any further than they needed to. So Joey Saldana has loaded it up. He is a spectator right now as we get set for the B main, Steve Evans.
You know, Bobby, you look through the pits at the fantastic 18-wheeler race car transporters, and I can tell you, I've owned 2 of these, and they're frightfully expensive to own and maintain. So the news was really good this past week from the Freightliner Corporation, the giant of the industry. The 10 top points earners in 1998 will each receive a year 2000 Freightliner tractor to use for the rest of the season. And that's not all. The program continues into 99. But the trick is, you've got to stay in the top 10. If you fall out, the guy that replaces you bumps you out. The repo man comes and gets your truck and gives it to him. All in all, it will save these teams about $50,000, especially in the depreciation factor. All in all, welcome aboard Freightliner, another company that's found a wonderful way to market their product through the Outlaws. Ralph Sheen?
That's great, Steve. It's a tremendous opportunity for the folks at Freightliner to get involved with the Outlaws, and it's going to be a huge help to these drivers. You and I were talking with Sammy Swindell earlier, and we talked to some of the other car owners today about what the basic cost of running a Pennzoil World of Outlaw program is. They're saying that if you started with absolutely zippo, nothing, no truck, no parts, no nothing, figure about $1.2 million, and you better hope you have a wife who doesn't mind you parking her car out in the driveway so you can work on the sprint car in the garage when you get it home.
Well, yeah, I was surprised to hear that myself. You know, Sammy's saying it's $750,000 a year after you have the rig and some of the equipment to maintain for a full year. With the crew, you know, a couple $100,000 you pay the crew a year. It adds up. Motel bills, fuel. It's an expensive thing to be out here.
And there's also more opportunities to work with the Pennzoil World of Outlaws because there's more openings with the teams.
Since this has been declared Outlaws Week here on TNN, we got to thinking, just what does it take to be an outlaw? Here are our suggestions that future outlaws may keep in mind. For starters, you can't be afraid of heights. You need a refined sense of balance, coupled with an acrobatic flair. Razor-sharp reflexes are a must, as is razor-like concentration. You have to know when to kick up your heels and when to control your emotions. You need to enjoy working with others in close quarters. The ability to see your way past obstacles. And most of all, the ability to go for the gap. Better yet, why don't we ask the Outlaws themselves?
To be an outlaw, it takes a lot of dedication.
First, you got to learn how to drive a race car.
You have to be a little crazy, and your elevator probably doesn't go all the way to the top all the time.
Got to pack a lot of ammo.
I'd say probably the best word to describe is dedication. You know, it's just a lot of hours. If we got paid by the hour, I'd probably own one of these hotels here in Vegas instead of giving them my money to stay there.
Then you got to deal with all the officiating.
You got to get used to living on the road, and you really got to, you just sort of got to give everything up to live on the road.
Then you got to deal with being on the road 250 nights a year. You know, that's the big problem, especially when you got a family.
I think that great piece that Steve Evans put together earlier this week really shows you what Pennzoil World of Outlaws are all about. There's been a lot of activity in the pits of Mark Kinzer. Let's go down to Bobby Gerald and find out what's going on in the Mopar pits.
Well, as you can see, Ralph, motor change is what's going on right now, and we're standing alongside the pilot, Mark Kinzer of the 5M. Mark, what's the deal?
We had just a little bit of oil blow by, so the crew opted to change the motor. Might even been spinning a little bit in our own oil. Really no problems, no threat to the motor or to maybe the way we finished. It's just something we had the extra time and we went ahead and opted to change the motor.
Now, I guess the good news is that the motor that's going in is the one that won last night's feature event, right?
Yeah, it is. Lee Carducci's here from Mopar, and we actually had a little bit of valve spring fatigue, so we changed those out, and it's a good running motor. We've won two races with it, so we put it back in and ready to go racing tonight.
We were making the joke, Ralph and Brad, that, heck, they finished second in the dash, so they had to change the motor.
That's right, but that's Lee Carducci in the blue sweater on the right side of your screen, and that's Gary Stanton, who used to drive for it on the left side there. He's the one that got the whole Mopar program actually going in open wheel racing again.
Well, you can see he's got his glasses on there. I was teasing him today. He's getting serious when he gets his glasses on.
That Mopar program very serious in 1999. Hey, let's show you the B-Main lineup since they're already out on the racetrack. A couple of real good names on the front row. Frankie Kerr in the 23S and Peter Murphy in the 0. Todd Bammer and Craig Delansky in row 2. Scott Young and Jimmy Carr, former wrench, now driver in the next car. Terry McCarl and Jason Myers in row 4. Brooke Tatnell and Tommy Tarleton in row 5. Billy Wilburn, last night's C-Main winner, who works for Rusty Wallace tomorrow. And Johnny Bridges in row 6. Tim Schaefer and Richie Faria in row 7. Larry Pinniger and Jeff Patrissen in the 8th row. Roger Crockett and PJ Chesson, numbers 1 and 2 out of the C-Main, tagging the back of the B. 12 laps is what I'm told this is scheduled for as we get set to take the green. Frankie Kerr in the 23S, the orange car, leads him down the backstretch. Peter Murphy in second, Delansky up to third.
Right behind Jimmy Carr in the 21. Right there down the front straight, that's into turn 1.
Jason Myers runs in fifth, 4 cars transfer. That's Schaefer in the yellow vibrant car, mixing it up with Terry McCarl.
And Brooke Tatnell from Australia, making a full run at the World of Outlaws this year. Big gamble for him. Very successful over there. Here he is in the B-Main at the World of Outlaw race.
Remember, you saw Terry McCarl flipping earlier from a couple of races back. There's Speedway, and now he's mixing it up here tonight.
Notice how right there, Ralph, they got in, and all 3 cars kind of picked the front end up and set it over. Same thing, they all had to back out the throttle when Brooke Tatnell got crossed up. As soon as they squeezed the throttle back over, picked the front end up and set it to the right.
Schaefer really trying to find a way to squeeze by on the bottom. Look, he picks up that left front tire.
Might have noticed there a lot of the drivers can
Oh, we got one around.
Well,
That's Billy Wilburn. Billy Wilburn, one of the tire changers for Rusty Wallace's Winston Cup team. He's going to go work the big track tomorrow.
And you know, this guy works so hard. I mean, he loves sprint car racing. He wants it so bad. He works for Rusty, like you said, and then goes to his own shop. He spends his own money. He destroyed a car a couple weeks ago. The guy really works hard.
Let's check in with Dave Reed.
Guys, earlier you heard Steve Evans talk about Freightliner coming on board, helping out the World of Outlaws, where there's an individual sponsor on a car. It belongs to Craig Delansky that I want you to pay special notice to. This is a guy by the name of Dick Johannick, who owns Polydome Industries, which sponsors Craig Delansky's car. That is a plastic products maker. They build over 300 different kinds of plastic things. Their biggest is a Polydome calf hut. You raise calves in these things. He bought it for $3,500 in 1972, and now these things are marketed worldwide. It's nice to see that money coming to World of Outlaw Racing and Craig Delansky. Bobby Gerald?
Dave, we told you the story of Joey Saldana, who had an early qualifying number and did not qualify well. Well, Frankie Kerr in the 23 car out in front here in the B main, he had a late number and actually was the fastest qualifier tonight. Now, some of that might be credited to a new engine program for Frankie. They have 3 brand new Kistler engines, and if that's a new name for some of you race fans, that's because it's a local product out of Ohio. Frankie says, as a matter of fact, the shop where they build those engines is only 4 miles from Frankie's house. And Brad Doty, you know that having something that convenient, that close, really can be beneficial during the course of a racing season.
Well, absolutely, Bobby. And last night I found out that, you know, George Gillespie with Pro Shocks, who helps Frankie all the time with his setups and things, said Frankie probably had one of the worst running engines last year when the weather got hot. So they really went to work this winter and worked on fuel systems, things like that, to try to get that engine running good. And boy, it's doing what it needs to do right now.
There's PCJoey.com, the new sponsor on the 21 of Jimmy Carr.
Now that guy, the guy that owns that company, is the same one, the up front phone card that he had last year. It's kind of the same thing, but it's just a
different name.
Different name, yeah.
Same money, different name.
And I understand they're going to have a PC Joey mascot to go to some of the races, the kangaroo, for some of the kids at some of the World of Outlaw races.
There, look at this good battle going on here. That's Schaefer up top in the 11, the Vibrant car. He went too far up there, didn't he, Brad?
Yeah, he did. Boy, we talked about it before. You just get up in the marbles and you can lose some ground. Took a big gamble, but back there where he's running, he knows to get a transfer spot, he had to try something to make something happen.
Todd Bammer in the 18 just in front of him. Oh, man, he just banged his way past. Schaefer takes the spot. That's what we talked about in that piece that Steve did about being aggressive, finding the gap and going for it. You only have a millisecond to decide you're going to go for it, and you have to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and when the hole opens up, you just squeeze the throttle and go right on through there. He can see that he's running 60. He's got to get to the top 4, and that was his opportunity. He did what he had to do. He's driving like a World of Outlaw driver should.
Terry McCarl slid wide in 3 and 4. You saw him gather it back up. Here's our leader, Frankie Kerr, the 23S, the shock machine. Very famous sprint car.
You know, Bobby was talking about him and Joey Saldana qualifying bad early. The track was a little bit dusty and slick, and the longer the track went and the more cars got on there, the more rubber got down and the track got a lot faster toward the end of qualifying. That's why some of these earlier cars, it hurt them a bit in qualifying.
Here's the battle for the transfer spot. Jimmy Carr holds it in the 21, but Schaefer wants it bad, and he's driving very aggressively.
And if Schaefer can get by, that move we saw earlier is going to pay off, and he's going to try to do the same thing again. If he can just get up under there, all you got to do is get the front end by. They used to say, get the radiator cap through, the rest of the car will fit. So he lost some ground there. That's out of turn 2. This is into turn 3. There's the lead right there. Look at Murphy closing in on the back of... now, the Hoosier tires I talked about earlier, they seem to take off and be real fast at the beginning of the race. Last night, Daniel Lasowski took off and started slowing down toward the middle of the race, and Mark was able to catch him back. Look at this. Peter Murphy with the McCurry's on the white flag. Now, hopefully Peter's not going to do anything too drastic to win this race. He's in a transfer spot. All he has to do is finish there. So I think he's just going to settle in and finish second.
We're on the last lap of the B main with the Pennzoil World of Outlaws. Frankie Kerr will hold off Peter Murphy to take the win. And the transfer will go to Jimmy Carr. Craig Delansky comes home in 3rd.
Schaefer just one spot out.
Frankie Kerr, your winner in the 23S, is going to take 3 of his buddies on to tonight's A-Main. Here's the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where they'll be running the Winston Cup cars tomorrow. Mark Martin won the Busch race there today. Here's a look at the B-Main official results. Frankie Kerr, Peter Murphy, Craig Delansky, Jimmy Carr going on. Frankie Kerr is standing by with Bobby Gerald.
Nice run, Frankie. A quick time earlier in the night. Now you get to start 9th in the feature. That's not too bad.
Nah, it's not too bad, but it's going to be really tough to pass. You know, it's kind of one lane. Maybe 3 and 4 get a little wider, you know, when you get racing. 1 and 2 is going to be one lane.
All right, we'll be watching.
Okay, thank you.
Steve Evans?
There's a bit of a family reunion here in the Amico pits of Dale Blaney. His brother Dave, a former Pennzoil World of Outlaws champion, has wandered over from the Super Speedway where you drove today in the Busch Grand National race. You're still a co-owner of this team, so you're very Pontiac.
Yeah, it was an okay day. I guess we'd call it a learning day. Struggled a little bit all weekend and continued through today, but hey, we ran most of the race in a couple hundred laps, and I made a few good ones, but we'll learn for next time.
Well, Dave hates being a rookie in any series, which he is over there. Last year, you were Rookie of the Year. You're glad to get that stripe off, and you're going to start about 20th. It's going to be a...
Well, yes, you know, the track's kind of one lane right now, and you really got to pick and choose your spots, and if somebody makes a mistake in front of you, you got to stick your nose in there. But, yeah, it's going to be a tough, long race.
And, you know, guys, I think what Dave Blaney misses the most over in the Busch racing is right here. If he had that wing instead of that little bitty spoiler, nobody would touch him. Ralph?
The next action on the racetrack will be our A main event. It'll be a 30-lap affair. We'll have to see if that Mopar can get back into action. Well, we had the opportunity to talk to some of the Pennzoil World of Outlaw drivers about what they like or not like about racing here at Vegas.
The Las Vegas Speedway is a big sweeping half mile. Every time we come here, it's a little different. I know dealing with the desert and the sun and the wind out here, different track conditions, so it's a different racetrack every time we come.
It's a neat place, the racetrack facility, you know, the paved pit area, just the excitement of the racetrack, I guess, just the fans, especially during the Winston Cup race. I mean, you know, the Winston Cup's right next door, and I know we're going to get a lot of them fans, and just being associated with this at the same racetrack with the Winston Cup is a big thing.
I haven't had too much success here. Just, I don't know why. It's kind of like we'll be fast in hot laps, and then slow in qualifying, and then fast in the heat race, and then it's like we haven't found a setup quite yet, but we're going to try a new setup this weekend, and I think it's going to work real well.
You come here one night and it's real fast, racy, a lot of passing, and the next night for some reason it lays rubber down. It's still pretty quick, but the track starts out slow and gets quicker. Just it's hard to tell. I don't think they want any of the racers to be able to predict what's going on. They try to make it a little tougher on us, and sometimes it gets pretty hard on tires, but I think all in all, there's always a good race.
It's been a little bit different most of the times we've been here, and it's different on the consecutive nights. Just because they haven't run it very much, they don't have a history for it, and they've been changing the surface a little bit. So, you know, I'm not sure if they've had the same people working on it all the time, and they only run just a limited amount of races. So every time we come here, it's kind of a surprise as to what we're going to be racing on.
Well, Las Vegas, of course, it's one of the most exciting places in the United States, and the Vegas track itself, it's one of the best. There's lots of people, there's lots of racing, and we always look forward to coming to Vegas.
I know, we always look forward to coming here.
Oh, absolutely. Again, it's always a race, and the guys don't like the surprises, as you heard them all say. They never know from night to night what the track's going to be like.
Let's check in with Dave Reed.
Ralph, I'm down with Andy Hillenberg, who has a career-best third-place finish here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. You take that again tonight because so far this year, your best is 7th. You guys have been struggling.
Yeah, we really have. It's this has probably been the worst start that I can remember in a long time. We just, you know, I messed up a couple times, and we've had a couple mechanical problems, and just hadn't been a good start for us, so hopefully we can turn it around tonight.
How do you like your chances starting 4th?
Well, I think it's going to be pretty good. You know, the track, the wind got the track awful dry, and it's got rubber down, so whenever we get to traffic, that's going to play a big part in the finish of the race. So if we can work some lap traffic, I think we'll be all right.
Best of luck to you.
Okay, thanks.
Dave, let's get a good look at the eyes of Joe Gertie, and race fans that are veterans of the World of Outlaws Circle will notice no glasses this year. And Joe, you had some corrective laser surgery. When did you have it done, and how they go?
Oh, we done that right at the end of January, the 25th, and it was on a Monday, and I ran a midget at the RCA Dome in Indianapolis on Saturday, so I guess it was okay. I didn't crash, and I'm out here and I haven't crashed, so it's been real good. You know, with glasses, it's pretty inconvenient a lot of times racing, and the sides of the frames and stuff get in the peripheral vision when you're racing, so far I've been real happy with it.
And were they able to get your vision to pretty close to 20/20?
Yeah, they said it was 2015. It was actually better than the average person, so it's pretty different for me. A lot of times I'm still looking around for my glasses and they're not there, so it takes a little bit of time to get used to, but it's sure a lot better than wearing glasses.
And has there been anything that's been on the detrimental side of it?
Nothing that I've found so far. Maybe a little bit at night in a car, like on a 2-lane road sometimes, but that's starting to heal too. They said that'll take about 2 months to get rid of, but I haven't noticed it.
Joe's looking good. Now, Brian Herta, the IndyCar driver, had this surgery before. Cost about $5,000. Only a 30-minute procedure, guys. It's pretty amazing.
It truly is, and it's a wonderful thing when it works for some of these guys. It can make a big difference behind the wheel of a race car. Those of you with sharp memories may recall that at the inaugural race here in Las Vegas in 1997, Jeff Swindell took the win and then performed a flag-waving wing dance to celebrate. Some of you may also remember that when we were here in Las Vegas last November, Jeff got into a little bump and run incident with Brent Kading in turn 1 that eventually led to a back-straight debate over Outlaws etiquette. Las Vegas certainly has found a showman behind the wheel, the number 104 car.
So, Jeff, you've had all kinds of emotions here at Las Vegas, from the victory wing dance to the bump and run with Kading. What's your approach now going into this feature event tonight, and do you remember that move?
Well, it's kind of like when you pull the handle down on the slot machine. You never know what's going to happen at this place. Myself and Mark have had a lot of success here, but we've had a lot of bad things happen here. We come from back in the 21st last year up to going to run probably top 3. And Kading didn't like it when I passed him, so he spun me out. What goes around comes around, you know. I'm out here to win races and make money. I ain't out here to make friends.
Jeff Swindell's side of the story. Let's see what Dave Reef has with BK.
Well, let's see what BK thinks. If you check the lineup, you're next to that 104 car. He said, I guess basically what comes around goes around, and things like that happen.
Who's in the 104 car?
That'd be Jeff Swindell. You remember this?
My friend Jeff. No, you know, what comes around does go around, and you know, it's tight, tough racing out there, and I don't know if it's my turn or his turn this time, but it's going to be exciting. Just keep your eye on the 2M Maxim.
And you put it behind you, and how do you focus on this race then?
Oh, it's behind me. That was just racing, and this is another race, and the same thing might happen again, or it might go the other direction. It's hard to tell.
Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Definitely no love lost there, though, Ralph.
Oh, I love that. A little controversy before the A main. That's good. Let's mix it up. That's what short track racing is all about. And joining us in the booth, the guy knows a lot about short track racing and sliding around dirt tracks, Tony Stewart. Good to have you with us. Now, you're going to start 20th tomorrow over there with the big track. How tempting was this, though?
Well, Lasowski's a buddy of mine, and he's been razzing me for a week now that I need to come and run his backup car. But I know Joe Gibbs would find out somehow. I'd have to come up with an alias name. But, you know, I worked a lot last year running my dirt late model and midgets, and it was a lot easier to ask for forgiveness and permission. But that Monday morning phone call from Joe when he wakes up out of bed at 7 o'clock and says, what did you do this weekend? It got to be too painful, so I'll just give him a hard time this week.
Okay, let's finish up real quick about the stock car stuff. How did happy hour go today? Because I got a couple open wheel questions for you.
Great. We ended up 6th quick in happy hour, and the car was really stable today. You know, with all the wind that we've had today, you know, it's been real gusty, and even with a 3,400-pound stock car, it's moving up, so moving the cars around on the racetrack. So we're pretty happy with our race car right now.
One more. I got to make it fast because my producer's going to scream at me. Tell us, open wheel fans, what's happening at Indy.
Don't know yet. I mean, Larry Curry and I are still trying to put our deal together to be car owners, and we want to run a full-time guy, hopefully a sprint car or midget driver, and, you know, if we can get enough sponsorship money to run me in a second car, we will, but if we can get our sponsorship, we'll get our car going, and I'll ride for somebody else.
Hey, we're in Vegas, but I'll tell you what, last night we were up here in the TNN suite. Stewart was trying to get Kenny Schrader to get down there and have a runoff. He was betting him. Schrader wouldn't go for it, but he invited him to Peebly. Shootout at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. You know, there's a lot of conversations going on in big-time stock car racing about shocks and how they're making such a big difference in who wins or loses races on the Winston Cup Tour. But here in Pennzoil World of Outlaws, Brad, it's a whole other story with shocks. And one reason is because that big right rear tire. The tires are so soft here that they absorb a lot of the action as the car goes over the bumps on the racetrack. Unlike in a stock car, we have a very hard tire, and that shock does so much work. There's also some differences on the inside, isn't there?
Well, but in Winston Cup, the shock maybe moves this much. In dirt track racing, it can move this much. Sammy Swindell probably was the innovator in shock technology. He's probably worked with it more than most drivers the last few years. cutting fine hairs to, you know, that instead of going a full number on a shock, one stiff, one harder, he might go a half. And so everybody's following suit on that, and the technology is really catching up, and it's helping the speed as we're seeing here on the racetrack.
And with more on the shock story here tonight in Las Vegas, let's check in with Steve Evans.
Well, Stevie Smith is the only Outlaw car with coilover shocks all the way around. Everybody else uses torsion bars. Now, he won more races last year, features than any other driver. Why hasn't that design spread like wildfire? It's inconsistent. But Dale Blaney has a compromise. Coilover shocks only on the rear. And they tested this combination over the winter in Florida, found it to be very, very good. And with this slick racetrack, they're going to try it here tonight. Dave Reeve.
Steve, this is Tyler Walker's brand new Aircep racing helmet. Brand new, notice unscathed. Well, there's a pretty good reason for it. And if you happened to be watching earlier tonight, you know that's because this young man destroyed his race car last night. How's the body doing?
Well, I'm a little bit sore, but I'm a lot better than last night. I was hurting pretty bad last night. I got knocked out. That's the first time I ever got knocked out, so it scared me pretty bad. But we went out a little early, so we didn't get as good of a qualifying time as we wanted. But we'll go out tonight. It's a little bit hard to pass. It's pretty narrow on the bottom. But my guys did a great job. I got a brand new car, and the car feels great. It was fast. Ran good in our heat race, and the Aircep car's running good.
Glad these helmets work. Put this one right back on. You start 16th. Good luck to you, man. Back to the booth, guys.
Ralph Shaheen sitting alongside my good buddy Brad Doty, who I want to congratulate on being named the National Sprint Car Poll Media Member of the Year for the second time. Congratulations, Brad. You earned it. There is the Ingersoll Rand number 19 of Stevie Smith. We had a chance to talk with Stevie earlier about how tough it's going to be to get that Ingersoll Rand car through traffic here at Vegas.
Well, I tell you, I've tried it a lot of different ways. I've been driving for a little while now. I've tried the Rammy stage. I've tried being cautious. When you're running with the Outlaws, you have to let it all hang out. I mean, there is a fine line between getting a little too carried away and driving hard, and you have to meet that line or they will pass you in traffic.
Well, we're ready to give you the grid now for tonight's A-Main. Let's show you how they're going to line up for our 30-lap event. The dude, Daniel Lisowski, the Pennzoil World of Outlaw points leader, will be on the inside of row number 1. Two-time winner already in '99, Mark Kinzer in the Mopar alongside. 15-time King of the Outlaws, Steve Kinzer and Andy Hillenberg in row 2. Johnny Herrera and Donnie Schatz will make up row number 3. Row 4, the youngster James Chesson alongside of the Hurricane, the '98 King of California, Randy Hannigan. Frankie Kerr and Australian Peter Murphy in row 5. Craig Delansky and Blake Robertson's 15R in row 6. Joe Gertie and Darren Pittman in his new ride, the 47 in row 7. And a strong row 8, Sammy Swindell and Tyler Walker coming up from the middle. Jeff Swindell and Casey Kane in row 9. Row 10, Brent Koenig, is he going to mix it up with Jeff on the way up? We'll see. Dale Blaney in the Amoco car in row 10. Paul McMahon's new machine, the U2, and Stevie Smith's Ingersoll Rand car, the 19. Jimmy Carr and Calvin Landis in row 12. And Tim Schaefer in the 11H rounds out the grid. Bobby?
Ralph, you know, we always like to talk about tires, and not only do the drivers like the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, but the tire companies have got to love this place because there's tires everywhere you look down here in the pits right now. And here's what's very interesting that I'm finding out before this feature event. Steve Kinzer and Mark Kinzer, the two cousins, both run Goodyear tires, but they are differentiating right now on which compound they should run. Mark and a bunch of the guys in the field are going to go with the 62. That's the hardest tire that Goodyear makes. Steve Kinzer and his team are going with the 40, hoping that they can get up through the field just a little bit quicker. Dave Reef?
Bobby, there's all kinds of hard luck stories, but the hardest luck of all has to belong to Breezy Whitworth, who brought along Guy's Snacks to Vegas here to showcase them on national TV. In fact, he's got Jack Salmon, the marketing director, and a whole big group in Atlanta waiting to see this car. But, guys, you're not going to see it because they had valve train problems last night, and they've been sidelined. But they're still having fun watching the races and eating plenty of, what do you think? Guy's chips. What else?
They're having fun down there. Daniel Lisowski. The dude won the Amoco Knoxville Nationals last year. He is our points leader this season already. He's going to have our Napa onboard camera. And Johnny Herrera will have another Napa onboard for you. Out of Tempe, Arizona, the 1BK.
You know, Stevie Smith hit the nail on the head about a lot of people wonder what separates the World of Outlaws from any other sprint organization, and it's probably the way they drive through traffic, the aggressiveness that the World of Outlaws and the experience they have with all the races they run in one year. they blast through traffic and can get through traffic better than anybody in sprint car racing, and that's obvious. But I think that's the main difference between them and any other organization.
And one of the highlights for the fans in the grandstands, the World of Outlaws 4 wide. Salute to the fans. Down the back straightaway, and they'll come through 3 and 4, and they'll pass one more time in the 4 wide formation. And it's interesting that the Outlaws would fly in formation here because Nellis Air Force Base is just about a stone's throw from here, and in formation all weekend long. The Thunderbirds have been buzzing high over the racetrack. Tonight it's the Outlaws flying stealth mode around the half-mile dirt. Look at that crowd.
Just the driver saying thanks for being here, folks. Doing the 4 wide. Safety crew down there in turn 1, waving at them. You know, Mark Kinzer starting on the outside front row, lost a lot of weight this winter. And Gary Stanton says, yeah, but he didn't lose as much as the Mopar motor did.
That's right, and joining us in the booth will be Steve Evans as well. Good to have you up here, Steve.
Thank you very much. I tell you, this is going to be one heck of an A-main. He who figures out and can deal with traffic here is going to win this thing.
Let's check in with Dave Reed.
Guys, when Steve Kinzer got out of his Quaker State Mount last night in 4th place, he breathed a big sigh of relief. In fact, middle of the race, he was back as far as 8th. They did come back. Why did they breathe that sigh of relief? They're struggling with their motor a little bit. Steve feels it's a little bit sluggish on the start, and since they've only had the dash to go out and race tonight, it'll be interesting to see how Steve Kinzer does on this initial start as we get set to go green.
You know, Steve's got the softer of the Goodyear tires on. Maybe he saw like the Hoosier taking off a little bit softer rubber. Maybe he feels like he can get a good enough start, get the lead, and then just run the car straight and be as smooth as he can on the throttle and not burn the tire off.
Mark and Steve on Goodyear's, Lasosky on the Hoosier as we get set to go green. Lasosky has the lead going down the back straightaway. Mark Kinzer runs 2nd. Steve Kinzer is 3rd. Johnny Herrera 4th. Hillenberg 5th.
And again, we say it again. Lasosky with the Hoosiers takes off.
Sammy Swindell, the blue channel lock number 1, coming up through the field. And the 104 octane boost car of younger brother Jeff Swindell, the red machine, tucking right behind him. They're battling with the Polydome car of Craig Dolansky.
And you can bet Sammy's got Goodyears on. He helped develop the sprint car tires, and he'll probably always have them on.
Contact between Schatz and Hillenberg, and you saw the black number 2 in Hillenberg get knocked off the line.
Yeah, knocked him back a spot or 2. Maybe he had to wait and make sure everything was in good shape before he got back on the throttle.
Out the back of the dude, Danny Lasosky racing hard.
That's a good shot of the left rear. The Hoosier tire, the left rear is about an inch wider than the Goodyear.
Flat tire on the Ingersoll Rand, number 19 of Stevie Smith.
He's made contact or something for this to flat. There's no way he burnt through already, you know, and flattened that tire. Something's happened.
And that brings out a yellow flag. You know, I talked to Steve Kinzer, and I asked him if he thought that Hoosier would hold up on the dude's car, and he said it sure looked good last night. I said, well, tonight's 10 more laps. He said, yeah, but the track's harder. He said, I think that tire is maybe the hot tip for this track.
Well, dude has a good buddy who likes to go real fast in a straight line. His name is Gary Selzy. He's won a couple of big championships on the Winston NHRA drag racing trail. Well, Danny conned Selzy into coming out to Manzanita to try out a sprint car while Danny was testing. And Selzy had to come over to the drag strip at Firebird to check things out. Selzy got behind the wheel. It was actually Jimmy Carr's car, and Danny led him around Manzanita. They came in, and Selzy says, you know, it's kind of an awkward position for the throttle. And Carr leaned in and said, that's because it's supposed to be flat the whole time. Get set for the green flag. We're about ready to kick off the A-main again. I guarantee you Selzy's watching, don't you think, Hunter?
Fresno, California. Got an adult beverage in his hand.
Glued to the set will be Gary Selzy. Hey, we're going green.
Look how straight Steve's running that car into the corner, trying to save that tire just as straight as he can be.
The 1X of Randy Hannigan comes flying through the pack like a rocket. He picked up a couple. There's Peter Murphy, 0. There's that black 1X. Look at Chesson coming inside a shot. Boy, Sammy taught him a few things, didn't he? Sammy Swindell not far behind him, actually.
Yeah, Sammy might be looking up there thinking, well, I shouldn't have taught him
too much.
Yeah, I taught him too well.
Sammy gets inside of Hillenberg. And Chesson battles with Schatz. The 22 machine. That's James Chesson. PJ Chesson in the 76, matching Carr's colors. And Sammy Swindell catches the young pupil. Now, what does he do with it? Get ready to go to school. and slides wide, as does Herrera, and Schatz comes underneath.
Schatz, man, oh man.
On board with Johnny Herrera, who already has 1 win for the 1BK. Arnapa on board.
That's Mark Kinzer. Mark Kinzer right behind him there, as you can see in the on board. Back to Sammy.
Sammy's already gotten around Chesson. Taught the student something else, and he goes to work on the Hurricane. Randy Hannigan, who claimed the 1998 King of California title. Something Brent Kading's won for so many years. Brent still won the NARC championship, though, last year.
See how straight they're running the car? Like I talked about Steve, but all of them, they're rolling the cars, they're rolling the corner like asphalt. You don't see the back of the car sliding out like you normally do. They're trying to save the tires. Anytime you shake the car loose, it wants to get loose. Right there's Mark Kinzer.
Lasowski continues to lead this one, and Mark Kinzer, that Mopar. Wow, look at him looming up in this parade.
Well, and Danny's got some traffic coming up here in the next lap or two right in front of him, too. And we've heard all the drivers talk about traffic. The bottom right now, the groove is on the bottom. They can't take a chance to go to the outside.
Look how that tire flexes that big, that's the left side
left rear tire only has about 4.5 pounds of air in it. And a real soft sidewall. I mean, just well, you've seen them on the ground. Yeah, they're just flimsy. Timing a big ball.
Well, there's the dude. He's got a nice lead, but I guarantee you, the number 11 car, the Quaker State machine of Steve Kinzer, is playing this as we've seen him do so many times. Let the race come to him. Don't press that tire. Don't wear it out. When they get into traffic, they're going to bunch up. Maybe you get a yellow. That's how he won a championship, is driving like he is right now last year.
Steve runs in 3rd right now. Mark Kinzer, actually, Steve's running in 4th. Donnie Schatz is 3rd. Mark Kinzer is 2nd. Calvin Landis is the car that Lasowski gets inside of. Here comes that Mopar machine. No problems. He gets around the inside of Landis.
I believe that's a different motor than he ran in the dash, is it not? There's no smoke coming out of it.
Yeah, they changed it. Had a little bit of an oil leak, and they changed it.
It's the same car he crashed in Hanford, but got 2 wins with already, but different motors. Oh, Danny got a little bit up on that inside berm. That'll slow him down here.
Yeah, what they're trying to do, I mean, again, you can't slip out too far, and the more the guys run the bottom, the more rubber gets down there.
Now, here comes Mark, Brad. He's closing. Where does he go? If Danny protects the bottom, do you think there's enough on the outside?
No, I really don't. All Mark can do is hope that when they get to traffic, Danny gets so tied up, maybe gets in trouble with the lap car. As you can see right in front of him, he's coming up on some lap cars, but all Mark can hope maybe Danny moves to the outside enough to give him a chance to get underneath of him.
The first one will be the black Ingersoll Rand machine of Stevie Smith, and look at Schatz trying to catch him.
Oh, but he just lost so much ground. Yeah, he got up there in the top and lost probably 15 car lengths.
That's Schaefer's Vibrant car, the yellow machine, and there comes Mark Kinzer inside as you watch from Lasowski's view. Remember, no rear view mirror, so Danny has no idea exactly where the competition is. Oh, and Schaefer, who's a lap car, battling back on Mark Kinzer. They make contact. That is going to really frustrate Mark Kinzer.
Oh, boy, I'll guarantee he will not like that.
There'll be a conversation after this race.
When a lap car passes you back like that. But look at this. He's going back around Danny Lasowski.
That's Jimmy Carr in front of Lasowski now. Now, remember, Carr was Danny's crew chief last year. Once he sees Danny there, maybe he'll move over and let him through. That can help him as well.
I'm sure he will. And Mark has gotten back by the 11 and did it cleanly. But here comes Schaefer back again on the outside.
Sammy Swindell coming through the field, battling with Johnny Herrera in front of him. And Randy Hannigan behind him. Calvin Landis in the white car slots in between the two. There's at channel lock number 1, a slamming Sammy Swindell. The Beef Packers 83. Danny Lasowski continues to lead. You know, look at the 11 of Schaefer smoking the right rear and picking up the left front. He is really driving aggressively.
Well, Schaefer's trying to get back in front of Danny, to get that lap back. But boy, I'll tell you, Mark Kinzer is going to be very frustrated with him having to race him this hard.
All right, so Lasowski now gets around Carr. Kinzer gets inside of Schaefer. Now he's got to deal with Carr. Don't forget, Schaefer is trying to race with Carr for points and position. Well, Mark's just going to run him right up and get him out of the way, isn't he?
Yeah, boy, if Danny could see what's going on, he'd be smiling. He'd be, oh, look at this.
Schatz gets by. He'll take second, and now Steve Kinzer closes in on Mark. So Mark spent so much time worrying about Schaefer, he lets Schatz come through.
Sometimes you can get frustrated. You can lose your rhythm. You overdrive the car when you're lapping a car and you're racing with him that hard. And maybe just lost a little focus there for a moment, and Steve got by, or Schatz was able to get by.
Meanwhile, all of that racing action behind him has done nothing but help Danny Lasowski.
Yep.
Do you think Carl Kinzer is going nuts watching this? He's not clicking his heels right now, I guarantee you.
No way. Casey Kane in the 23 is the next car, the 23K, that the dude will deal with. There he is, the black and white machine.
I'll tell you, I talked about the Hoosiers getting a good start and sometimes, you know, slowing down toward the end of the race. And boy, it sure doesn't look like he's slowing down at all.
One of the reasons why Danny Lasowski said he would be so strong at the beginning of the season is he went down and did the entire series through Florida. He raced himself into shape. He said, I got to the first couple of races, I beat Sammy, I outran him, I outlasted him. He said, when I caught him, I saw him hanging out of the seat, I knew I had him. He plays racquetball 4 times a week. He raced himself into shape. That's what it takes, Brad, to win.
You can work out things, but you don't use the same muscles. You can't simulate that as you can in a race car. And going down to Florida, like you said, helped a lot. Now, there's Sammy and Kinzer and a few of them tested at Dallas, but just you know, a couple laps, not enough to really get him in shape.
Nothing like 11 nights of racing.
We have now gone 4 laps further than Danny Lasowski went on that same tire last night. Whoa, look at this. He's coming back.
Mark Kinzer in the black and white Mopar car trying to catch cousin Steve in the Quaker Steve 11.
Steve passed him the last lap coming out of turn 4. Mark got flipped up a little bit, and Steve got under him.
And they're catching shots, too, just in front of him.
You can see Mark, that's again out of turn 4. He's having trouble getting off 4. The car was hanging. He's real loose, and Steve was able to get by on the bottom.
That's second, third, and fourth. Steve Kinzer is second in the points right now.
Here comes Sammy.
And Sammy Swindell, who is 6th in the points, closing into the channel lock car.
Just 5 laps to go.
Sammy Swindell started deep in this one. Started about 16th, and he has really worked his way into contention.
Whoa. Look at this. There goes Mark. Now, there's something, a shot we just saw before. If we get this again, you see the cars falling to the right-hand side. Usually with the wing on and the track's fast, the wing buries the left rear because of the speed. Now they're slow enough. The wing's not pushing the car down, and the right rear's sticking so hard, the car lays over on the right-hand side.
Danny's family all gathered around the TV back in Higginsville, Missouri, watching the action here on TNN as we bring you our first live Pennzoil World of Outlaw race of the season. Great battle going on for second, third, and fourth. Steve Kinzer, Mark Kinzer, and Sammy Swindell, the green, the black and white, and the blue car on your screen, battling it out for second place.
If Danny's got a radio in, they're just telling him to cool it. There's no way they're going to catch it. Watch this lap traffic. Don't do anything stupid. For the last lap, we're on the white flag lap. Just hang in there and just make this lap without getting in any trouble.
Danny's car owner doesn't get to too many races because of the business that he has with the Beef Packers, but he was there when Danny won the first race of the year, and he's here again tonight. And Danny Lasowski's about to do it again in 1999 by winning the Silver State Shootout at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It goes to the Beef Packers 83 of Danny Lasowski. Steve Kinzer will come home in second. Mark Kinzer will be third. Sammy Swindell will hold on for fourth. And Donnie Schatz is fifth. And as the dude pumped, you know it.
But Steve Kinzer, he'll be not happy with second, but certainly satisfied because he did not give away a lot of points here at all.
Well, there's a lot of happy people back in Higginsville and in Dover, Missouri. And there's a happy dude here in Vegas. Danny Lasowski has won his second Pennzoil World of Outlaws event. Here he claimed the victory at the Silver State Shootout. As you take a look at the rundown from the A-Main, let's talk to our winner, the Pennzoil World of Outlaw point leader. He's with Dave Reed.
Let's do just that, Ralph Shahid. Danny Lasowski, the crew celebrating down here. Hey, what a great, great race. You did it again.
Thank you, guys. I tell you what, we're elated out here, and I tell you, I guess I got to tell you, I owe my dad this one because after the dash, I went and called him on the cell phone and said, hey, Dad, what tire should we put on here? So he's in Missouri. He said, hey, put that 55 on. So that's what we did, and the Hoosier did his job.
With 2 wins this early in the season, you continue to lead the points. We're talking points championship possibilities here, aren't we?
Well, we don't want to talk points championship. It really would be nice, but if you win races, stay consistent, we might have a shot at this thing.
The whole race was yours. You didn't have any problems at all with lap traffic, with the exception of one, Casey Kane. The 23 car kind of got your bottle for a little while.
Yeah, he was pretty wide, but he didn't know where I was lapping him or anything like that. But it may have looked easy for you guys, but I'm telling you what, I was on pins and needles.
Did the crew have a radio at all? Were they feeding you?
Yeah, but I can't hear them on the green. I can just hear them on the cautions. They did a great job. I tell you, Mark Ellis, Jack Hickman, Craig Stevens, them guys are working their tails off, and I couldn't do it without them.
Way to go, Danny Lasowski. Over to second place with Bobby Gerald.
Well, Dave, we talked about consistency at the top of this show, and here are the numbers for Steve Kinzer. Through 6 total races, some of them prelims, no finish worse than 8th, and here's another second-place finish for you. This is what you need to do, Steve. How do you assess this run?
Well, I think I had a little better chance of winning the race. I went with a soft tire, and then everybody come out there and bolted some harder stuff on and had me scared a little bit, so I took it easy on it, and I got plenty of tire left. I should have raced a little bit harder, but you know, it's pretty tough to pass on unless somebody would have just slipped out in a lap car or something. But the thing was, I wasn't there with them if they would have. So where I think I could pick the pace up and stayed with, you know. But I got out there and loose stuff myself. So we'll take second. But we're going to win some races.
It's those second-place finishes that will get you a championship later on down the road, Ralph.
That's exactly right, Bobby. And Sammy Swindell, we have voted up here in the booth. He is going to be our Mopar High Performer. Why? Because Sammy brought the Channel Lock car from 15th to 4th. Sammy Swindell, Dave Reef, is our Mopar High Performer.
Oh, and he was charging hard on the Channel Lock car. You caught onto a pretty good setup, didn't you?
Well, we've had a good setups with the Channel Lock car. Just seemed like we've had the wrong number. Something happened, you know, qualifying and just being a little off. And we've been having some really bad starts, all these 8th and 9th rows, but made a lot of top 5s out of it.
Would a yellow have helped?
Probably not, you know, because the guys, when they get to running by themselves, they didn't make too many mistakes, and you just have to get guys to run a little harder, get to racing with each other, you know, so they would make a mistake or slip up. And, you know, a lot of times I'd just get the pressure in the guys real hard, and they knew I was there, and they'd make a little slip, and we'd get by them.
What a great run, though. Way to come home third tonight for Sammy Swindell.
Our next show will be from Terre Haute at the Action Track, and Bobby Gerald will be there.
Yes, I will, along with the guy who finished third tonight, Mark Kinzer, the driver of the Mopar car number 5M. And Mark, you had a good fight up there at the front of the field with a bunch of guys in the top 5 and also with some lap cars.
Yeah, you know, sometimes guys try to get their laps back. You know, maybe he had a legitimate shot at one time, but then there at one point he didn't, you know. You get back in sprint car racing anywhere from about 19th to last where he was running. There's no pay difference, and it cost me, you know, $4,000 or $5,000 and a lot of points. I'm trying to represent Mopar and work in Ray Williams and Phil Durst as professional as possible. I don't know, maybe the Outlaws might have a sit down and talk with him, or maybe I'll go down and have a little chat with him.
All right. You happy with this run? Can you live with it? And the 3 races you've finished, they've all been on the podium.
Yeah, you know, the car's running really good. The neat thing about this program with Mopar, this motor is available to every weekly racer in America. So it's a neat program to be involved with, retaining my old sponsors. It's really exciting.
Congratulations on another podium finish.
Thank you.
Dave Reef?
Well, Bobby, Donnie Schatz came home 5th, getting the congratulations from Danny Lasowski, and, of course, giving some to him. You felt like you had a much better car. You're a little disappointed, but you can't mock a 5th.
Well, no, I guess not. You know, we qualified 7th, and luckily we made it in the dash. And, you know, that was a good starting point for us. We started 6th, and we did get to 2nd. And, you know, I felt like we had a good car. We had a good car to win this race. We had the right tires. I mean, we had the perfect tires. We had a 40 Goodyear on there, and when it started going, it was going. And it was just one of them deals where I was sitting behind a lap car, and I had to make a move, you know. When you get up to 2nd, you get greedy, and you want to win. And I could taste it, you know, but just fell a little bit short. I made a mistake trying to pass a lap car, and one corner, 3 of the best passed me, Steve and Sam and Mark. So no room for mistakes here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Well, that taste will definitely stay in his mouth, Brad Doty, as I'm sure it does with anybody.
Yeah, that's something you think about for a while. But like he said, you know, you're here to win the race, and he tried to win it, and it got him back to 5th.
What do you think of the controversy between Schaefer and Mark?
Well, I think Mark has a reason to be upset. You know, just like he said, at one time Tim had a shot at maybe going back up there and getting his lap back, but then when the leader got away from him, he should have backed off and let Mark go by.
And that's exactly the direction the Lasowski's heading, right into the heart of Sin City to celebrate tonight. The winner here tonight is Danny Lasowski. The TNN TV schedule, boy, what a hot one it's going to be. I don't know about you guys, I'm looking forward to all these new tracks. Route 66 and going to Bill Kentling's place over there in Heartland Park and playing around there. And always the Amico
Get your
Knoxville
kicks
National.
at Route 66. I'm ready.
Oh, you are ready. All right, let's check in with Bobby Gerald, who is with a man in the midst of some controversy, Bobby.
Well, there's been some conversation, Tim Schaefer, tonight about lap cars racing with the leaders. Give us your perspective from your seat.
Well, this when you're starting the back, and then when the track gets rubber down it like this, it's one lane, and once you get lapped, you're pretty much done for the night. So I was just trying to get maybe my lap back, you know. And then when he got a little loose in front of me, I passed him, and I run up on Danny. I thought I had a shot at it, and that's just part of racing, you know. I wasn't trying to get in his way or whatever, but yeah, you know, like I said, I had an opportunity to try to get a lap back, and I tried, and that's what's happened. So.
Two drivers and two different perspectives. Ralph?
All right, Bobby, thanks a lot. It is going to be interesting to see now. What did you do in situations like that, Brad? Do you pay the guy back the next week, or what do you do?
No, these guys are professionals, and I heard Jeff Swindell and Kading talking about it. You know, it's still in their mind, but I think once they get on the racetrack, there's a lot of money at stake. You don't want to tear your race car up, so they just kind of let it go, I think.
You agree with that, Steve?
Yeah, pretty much so. We had that incident in Paris where Terry McCall got crashed, and had some words, a little more than words actually, with Mr. Jeff Swindell, and got fined $500, so he doesn't have any money to play with here in Las Vegas this weekend. What I like about this season is you've got the brash young drivers like Tyler Walker, you've got the greatest dirt car driver ever in Steve Genzer, and all the elements in between. Plus, they're talking some smack. You got the Mopar. What a year.
It's going to be great. And, of course, TNN will be there to bring it all to you. Now, don't forget, coming up right after this, Darrell Waltrip's Racers featuring the Pennzoil World of Outlaws. And ExperienceCountry.com, your personal source for all things country. From race cars to country stars, connect to Country.com. For Dave Reeve and Bobby Gerald, my buddy Steve Evans and Brad Doty, I'm Ralph Shaheen. So long. Congratulations, dude. See you at the action track.